It's another one of my articles called Being Human 101 by Kyler Davenport. Why do some people try to disconnect themselves from being human? Why do they turn away from humanity? We are flesh and blood. We are physical beings. We must live with ourselves and inside ourselves. We must celebrate our humanness. We must live in the moment, in the now of our being. I see people all the time trying to deny who they really are. You cannot separate yourself from yourself no matter how hard you try. You are who you are, and that is it. Most of us have been taught at an early age that being human is a terrible thing, even a sin. Sin resides in that mortal body, we are told. Rid yourself of your nasty thoughts and deeds that will destroy you and everyone around you. So we try our best to find this other person, this other self, this good thought, that good deed, the selfless act. That must be it. If only we could stay here. If only we could figure out how to live in that so-called other self, it would be a perfect world. Or would it? Most people can't grasp that we are in a perfect world. The world is not confused. We are. The world is not messed up. We are. What is the world? Is it a platform, the foundation, the starting place, the origin of our being? And before the world was God. The origin of our being is not God, but the world that He made for us to come out of. We are not the essence, but the fruit of the essence. We are not the root, but a part of the branch. We are not the first or the last, but somewhere in the middle of this fantastic creation or event. One must learn just to be. Stop trying to figure yourself out. Stop trying to find yourself. You are who you are. Be content to be. Past, present, and future are now. The past is forever gone, the future an illusion of mortal mind, the present a gift to be treasured. You must live in it. You cannot run from it, even though you may try. It is here to stay, that eternal moment called the present, the now. Face it head on. Don't be afraid of it. It is okay to learn from your past. It is okay to anticipate the future. But you have to understand the future is now. Stop talking about what you did and what you are going to do, and realize they are both now this very minute. The past, present, future are now. When we are young, we tend to look toward the future. When we are old, we tend to think about the past. To make sense of reality, we must have a sense of past, present, and future. For this is the very nature of who we are at any one given moment in time. However, in order for one to break free of destructive and unwanted behaviors, one must take control of the present moment and understand its complexities. Most of us are programmed and even controlled by our so-called past. Some of us refuse to live in the present because we are stuck in the past. You did not become who you are today all by yourself. You are a product of your sensory input: sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. Your brain has been processing this information since you were born. So in effect, you are a byproduct of multi-sensory input coming in from any and all possible sources within your environment. Most of these sources are all very powerful and have had a massive influence on you and your way of thinking at this very moment. So much so that you would have a hard time becoming anyone else or acting or behaving in a different way. That is because you have not been taught how to operate this complex environment we call reality. Would you say that you are in control of yourself and or your environment at this very moment? Would you say that you call the shots? Do you smoke? Do you exercise? Do you eat the proper foods? Do you overeat? Are you overweight and unhealthy? Do you have a temper? Do you overspend? Are you selfish and greedy? Are you depressed and angry? Do you talk too much? Are you lazy? If you experience any or all of these things, then you are not in control of yourself. You are under submission to the elements that you have allowed to take you over and invade your space and place. Any negative, unproductive, or destructive behavior is a sign that you are being controlled by external forces. These forces have taken you over. You are made up of multiple variables, parts, and pieces that have culminated over time into the you call you. The whole is made up of many parts, and parts are made up of even more parts, and so on and so on. You are a small part of all that has ever been and all that will ever be. Everything you say, do, and think affects every other component in the mix or system of things. The system is made up of tiny variables, with no one variable being the key piece in the puzzle. All pieces operate independently to affect the whole. The whole is always changing depending on the state of each individual component and variable within the whole. The whole never completes itself and will always be in a state of flux. To be able to operate within the system effectively, one must be able to override fixed variables that clump together in the system and clog the flow of ideas and information relevant to positive change. The map is not the territory. Subject does not create object. All manifestations are of unknown origin and should be identified as such. To operate within the system, one does not have to understand the origin. Only the variables within the origin can be manipulated depending on the state of the source and its place in the system. All variables within the system operate at different levels and function within variable frequencies and patterns intersecting at different points. Subjective analysis versus objective reality being the key operative in the quest for balance in any one system or subsystem at any given time. Given the massive diversity of such input with multiple pattern possibilities, one can see how tangled the web of reality can become. Conflict arises and is unavoidable when multiple input variables do not coincide with each source, therefore creating tension among key players in the system. I have written many articles on communication. It is a very complex and highly misunderstood subject. We do not learn how to effectively communicate unless we take time to study the process of communication. You have to break it down, tear it apart, and dissect it. You have to become one with it. You have to really get inside it and look at it from the inside out. Anyone can make a noise. Anyone can talk. But very few people understand the art of effective communication. Before one can learn to communicate, one must first learn to listen. Very few people know how to listen. Do you know how to listen? Or are you one of those people who just can't wait for the other person to shut up so you can talk? I hope not. Good luck in your quest to learn to truly communicate.